Welcome back. More than 100 protesters were arrested for trespassing at Columbia University on Thursday while taking part in an ongoing pro-Palestinian demonstration. The protesters set up an encampment on the south lawn of the university starting Wednesday when the school's president testified before Congress on Columbia's response to anti-Semitism. Among those arrested was the 21-year-old daughter of Representative Ilhan Omar, a Democrat from Minnesota. NBC News correspondent Antonia Hylton is at Columbia University in New York with the latest. Antonia, good morning. So describe the scene leading up to the arrest and where things stand right now.
Good morning, Joe. Well, this all started on Wednesday. Students started to construct an encampment. They pitched tents, they brought food, and were spending essentially hours upon hours together with additional students coming to join them throughout the day. This extended into the day on Thursday, and that is when the announcement came from the university president that she was going to call in the NYPD and allow them to enter campus, something that is highly unusual at schools like Columbia that often use their own private security forces and limit the NYPD's access to their lawns. The NYPD entered, arrested more than 100 students, many of whom were released last night as well, and who will be facing summons in the coming days. And this has led to immense tension here. The protests are ongoing inside the gates and on the campus. Students were there well into the night, and they say that it has strengthened their resolve here, Joe, to continue protesting the war and asking the university to not punish the students who've been involved.
It was a bit of a split-screen moment, Antonia, while Representative Ilhan Omar was questioning Columbia President Minouche Shafik on Capitol Hill, talking about college anti-Semitism. Then the Congresswoman's daughter was organizing this demonstration in New York. Do we know anything more about her arrest?
Well, her daughter, Isra Hirsi, was arrested. She was one of those about 108 students arrested by the NYPD, many of them transported on buses downtown and then released last night. She released a statement on Twitter saying that she was one of 3 students who received news from the administration that she would be suspended. And that is part of what has inflamed the tensions here on campus now. For the students who watch their classmates get transported on buses, be sent away with zip ties on their arms, they say that this has only encouraged them to continue these protests, that they think that for some students who previously weren't involved, it'll encourage them to get involved now going forward. And so there really is this continued question here on campus of where do things go from here? If students continue to camp out on the lawn, will the NYPD return? There is a small presence here this morning, but all of that remains to be seen now, Joe.
Yeah, and I guess that's the question that maybe we don't know the answer. Will these arrests deter people or just motivate more demonstrations? But also just what are we hearing from the city, from the mayor about this?
Well, the mayor and the NYPD have made very clear that they entered and they did all of this with the support, with the call-in from the university president here. So they came in on her request. They arrested these students for what they're describing as an unlawful or unauthorized protest. And so these are the tensions that not just Columbia, but frankly, schools like Columbia all over the country right now are facing. What do you do when these demonstrations take place and in some cases spill over onto public streets like they did last night? Students were inside the gates, but then supporters, friends, other people from all over New York City spilled over to the streets here, and there were fights that broke out. Take a listen to the mayor describing his take on all of this.
I know the conflict in the Middle East has left many of us grieving and angry. This is a painful moment for our city, for our country, and for the globe. New Yorkers have every right to express their sorrow, but that heartbreak does not give you the right to harass others, to spread hate. And I urge everyone who is protesting to please do so peacefully and respectfully.
What we saw here, because I was here with the team at NBC News watching all this unfold in the afternoon and into the evening, Joe, and what we saw were students who were primarily very peaceful, but people who came to the campus saying that they were showing solidarity for the students, starting some of those conflicts there, and they were on all sides. There were pro-Palestinian, pro-Israeli people here, and they were getting into conflicts with each other. Meanwhile, the students were behind the gates having their own confrontations or discussions with administrators who were asking them to clear the lawn. And so all of this has gotten quite complicated, at times messy, and really the only constant or certainty, Joe, is that university presidents and leaders, they are facing incredibly difficult difficult questions right now about what to do. How do you maintain free speech and allow students to let their voices be heard and to engage in debate, but also make sure that people are safe? And there really is no easy answer right now, Joe.
All right. Antonia Hylton at Columbia University, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.